The city. It is this sprawling, massive place, miles and miles across. Been here as long as anyone can remember. Nobles play their power games, guilds maneuver for money and influence. Dark things emerge from the shadows to hunt, and the lamplighters take everything in while keeping the darkness at bay. The thing I always wonder is why? Why do these lamplighters keep the darkness back? What investment do they have in Avalon? Streets of Avalon, an urban RPG setting by Brett Blazinski for the world's most popular role-playing game. Ask for it at your friendly local game store or head over to gamingnbs.com/streets. Gaming NBS, episode 340, being recorded May 3rd, 2021. Welcome to Gaming NBS, a tabletop RPG podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Brett. Welcome to the show, folks. Welcome back. Glad everybody's around. Sean, how the hell are you, man?
Fantastic, Brett. How are you?
Not bad. Not bad at all. Good. Let's see. This last... what I do? AJ ran his Midgard campaign for Lana and I, and our characters continue to survive. My daughter loves the fact that our characters bicker constantly between each other. She thinks that's hilarious. We have a lot of good role-playing moments. We throw AJ for a loop a few times. It's fun. Keep the boy on his toes.
Nice.
And then let's see. Anything else? No, not really. No, I had my wedding anniversary was last Thursday, so we normally...
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary, baby. Got you on my mind.
Wow. Thanks.
Blake Ryan, you better know who that is. I'm just saying.
So I normally would have gamed on Thursday, but that was the anniversary. So guys, nope. Doing stuff with the wife. So that was cool. And then my
now
buddy
you
Mike.
can game every night of every day of the month until the end of the month.
Yeah, she's sick of me already. She's like, Jesus Christ, spend a day with you. Fuck off already. Then my buddy Mike and his wife stopped up. Mike is the chief operating officer for Albion Swords. So I bought a sword. So he brought me a sword. So that was nice.
That's nice.
That
How
was
many
very
swords
nice
do you own now, Brett?
4 or 5. And an axe. Well, I own more than one axe. Obviously, it's an Albion axe, but it's really cool. Medieval stuff. Anyway, point is, can't have too many sharp, pointy things. So that's always nice.
I don't own a sword. Just saying.
Do you need one? Fine, I'll get you a sword.
No, I don't need
You whiner.
I don't need one. Not yet.
But let's see. Blades don't use bullets. Remember that. Let's see here. I think that's about it for gaming, man. Didn't do a whole heap of a lot. Tomorrow is my first edition Forgotten Realms game for the kids. And this weekend should be, we're finally going to try it. I think we've got only maybe a handful of sessions left of Alpha's Rage of Demons campaign. So we're going to go back to that sucker. The first session after a very long hiatus on Saturday will be, who are we? The fuck are we doing? It's going to be, I guess you can find my character sheet. I don't even know where the hell that thing is. So that'll be fun. How about you, man? Anything good? Bad? Indifferent?
Thursday ran Forbidden Lands for the Verboten Landers.
How'd it go?
Those guys, they just kill me. Like, you'll plan something. You're like, okay, all right. I got plan this. Get him there. Like, sniff around. Don't want to be here.
Seems dangerous.
Take
Moving
off.
on.
Yep. Dangerous. Yep. They're out of there. So they did, hilariously enough, they did encounter. So they just get.
So is this the Forbidden Lands version of Brett staying on the starship? Is that what they're doing to you?
No, not even.
Not even that bad. Nothing
so
that
funny.
bad. Okay.
It's so funny because they get the biggest kick out of the kookiest things that occur in that game. Harrigan's character Elise went fishing, had a failure, and ended up like basically damaging the fish line and hook. So no more fishing for Harrigan's character.
Aw, wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah. And then, of course, they're looking for some more, and they get downpoured in the rain, and Groms is
He fails his warmth save, and now he's cold as hell. And the only way for him to warm up, supposedly in the book, is to start a fire. Well,
It's soaking wet.
it's a torrential downpour outside.
This is the world's worst backpacking trip. The RPG.
They ended up on like a coastal region, and that's where they ran into this tower that had some pretty bad juju that they just didn't. They're like, screw this, we're out of here. There were bodies all over. All the bodies' heads were gone. And so they were just like, I'm getting a bad feeling about this, and they left. And then they went down to the beach a little ways and set up camp and stayed there for like a couple days.
So, like, what the fuck is their object? Just roam around randomly?
Brett,
Like, oh, look at
Forbidden
this.
Lands is a game of rogues and raiders in a cursed land.
Yes, I know, but what are they trying to accomplish?
The whole kind of thing with that game is literally making it on your own, like finding treasure, exploring old sites, trying to get the big treasure, because eventually
So what they're doing is they're looking for an easy score
yes.
for now.
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of a
So
score, right?
So the reason I asked was because I'm like, okay, so they bailed on like the spooky tower thing. What the fuck they do that for? But if they're looking for an easier score, like, okay, that, if you're thinking like CR, that looks like a CR8. I'm a 2. Fuck that. Moving on. If they think it's too dangerous, whatever, look for the easy score. I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, it's not a bit like, I'm not like saying, God, these guys, they keep giving them shit and they don't do anything.
I'm not saying that. I'm just wondering why they turned it down.
Well,
Like, what the fuck are
Grom's
they
was
doing?
like, he looked inside and the whole inside walls were lined with skulls, probably from the guys that were outside. And it wasn't like a very old ruin. So they decided to get the hell out of Dodge. So, I mean, rightfully so. And in defense of their move, Forbidden Lands isn't known to be like, oh, it's a monster. Let's roll initiative and charge in there.
No. Yeah, don't. Bad shit happens.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay.
So that was
I just hadn't
fun.
heard much in the way of them actually finding a whole lot of loot lately. So I'm like, if they're supposed to be looting shit and there's
Well,
nothing to loot, dude.
That may be on
But
me.
that makes sense. That's probably on you. I would say it's a
maybe a
GM
little
failing,
bit.
most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but then they had a dream, all of them, one night, the last night.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And that dream is, there was a crow, like a guy dressed in a crow outfit that is giving them some direction. And as they wake up the next day, they look out upon the horizon, and there's this big, tall spire in the north that reaches high into the sky. That comes from the dream that they accepted the proposition from the crow-dressed man.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
So we'll see. They could go towards that and be like, nah, screw that shit.
Differ on that a little bit. Nah, fuck it. You know what? Back to Skull Tower. God damn it, says Sean.
Saturday I ran Star Wars. I thought it was okay. I don't know how the players thought of it, but they have been captured, and so the tale continues in the search of the Sanalor ship on Chaldana.
Well, as you explained this to me earlier, I think that I should probably call up the Jeff crew and explain to them the way you explore for the Sanalor is one person stays on the ship at all times, uses the sensors and shells anybody who comes close to you. That is how you survive.
Shells. That's right. Shelling.
Just dropping.
Howitzer.
Use the ship's guns as a howitzer and just blast shit. That's how you survive. And then when you encounter the first mechanical Nexu, you bail. You just bail on the whole adventure, make Sean do something different. That's how you survive.
They don't know it's mechanical yet.
Ah, Jesus.
Because it's dark. They got kind of rousted out of a dark ship. And then
They're not.
They came out and all the floodlights were put down your stuff. Put your hands in the air. Down on your knees. Yeah.
Tisk.
Yeah, I'm sure
The
that.
shit that this does not happen when someone stays back in the ship. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to tell you.
All right.
So that was it. And then Tuesday's Delta Green.
Nice.
Should be the wrapping up the 1755 arc.
Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting to see where that one goes after this is done.
I am very interested. If I might have to make up another character, I would guess, because my guy's not going to survive another 200 years.
I would assume not. No, unless there's some great race of youth, like brain movement thing or something.
I'm already
we'll see.
50.
Exactly. Another 200 years, for Christ's sake. All right, man. So I guess we should probably do announcements here. Let's see here. We've got the Discord forums. We've still got our gaming stuff going on for the BS community. So go out there, check that out.
I want to say something too, because this is
Go, man.
we've got Edwin Nagy out of Maine is willing to run a Call of Cthulhu game in French.
In French?
In French.
Holy cow! I missed that. Damn.
Yep. So if you parlez-vous français and want to play Cthulhu, whether you're French Canadian or a French native or a French,
I know Mr. Dragonspawn is a fluent French speaker.
There you go. I don't know if he's a big Call of Cthulhu guy.
I don't know, man. Could be.
Maybe. But I don't know if people realize that. Like, hey, man, this,
No, that's cool. I missed that. What's out there? That's
and
awesome.
I suppose you can speak French and not be from a French-speaking country.
Absolutely possible, yes.
Of course. But anyways, continue.
Okay, no, that's very cool. Gamehole Con event submission opened as of today, 2 days ago, May 1st, 2021, that opened up. So that's cool. And on, what is it here, May 13th on Twitch, you and I are doing something.
That's the plan.
Buddy. Third Floor Wars. We're going to do a little Blades in the Dark. And because he has threatened to game with us for so long, we're going to pull in a little extra muscle.
Yeah.
So it's not just you and me. So that'll be good.
Eric the Frank. The Frank.
Yeah.
House.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's mighty.
Yeah, damn right he is. So we're going to have him in there. We'll see how this goes. So yeah. Play Blades in Dark. See if if I no longer despise. I'm actually looking forward to it. It should be kind of interesting. I want to see what the chatter is about because I've heard good things about it from a number of different people who are friends of mine and I trust. So be interested to see how it goes. What else have you got here? Oh, and you've got a new recording coming about how to RPG. What are you're going to do for Forbidden Lands?
I'm going to do Forbidden Lands
Forbidden
Die
Lands.
Pool. Something very simple, elementary, and put it up on YouTube for how to RPG. Long overdue video. So long overdue
cool.
video just in general. So I'm editing it
Very cool.
now. Yep.
Nice.
That's it.
Cool, man. Well, it's a random encounter to sucker up so we can get a move on.
Random Encounter, segment of the show where we field emails, voicemails, comments from social media.
You can start.
I will start. Thank you, Brett. Forrest Aguirre on horror, suspense, and tension. Great episode, gents. Twilight Zone is still my favorite TV show of all time. I leverage some of those same moves every time I run or write a horror scenario. They're hardwired into my brain at this point. Incidentally, I love. It says that, doesn't it, Brett?
It does. It says 3 loves. He really loves this thing.
Yeah, there you go. Love what Sean had to say about cadence. Sometimes lowering your voice and slowing down so that each word counts can convey a real sense of impending dread. When you're really, really scared, a second can feel like an eternity. You could set this pace with your players merely through controlling your voice. Want to really freak your players out? Get up close, after everyone's vaccinated, of course, and whisper something to them in a gentle, terrifying way. Works every time.
It does. It was really good of you to mention it because it's something I try to use. Loud voices, quiet whispers, all of that. We talked about this when we say using voices and all that stuff. People think accents and so forth, but just the changing of your tone, getting really loud, really, really quiet, getting a little raspy, a whisper, all of that stuff can really change the tone of an entire scenario right there. That thing that's happening, that scene is just totally different, especially when it's going really, really, really quiet. Then you go bang and everybody goes, oh, what the fuck? Then it just, the shock can be awesome. So good stuff. Glad you called it out for us.
My one for that 100.
Yeah.
I'm always good for 1 for 100.
Good.
So
that's true.
That's my one for
bad.
the 300s. There you go.
Very good. I'm proud of you, Sean.
Thanks, Brett.
You got a streak. All right. Blake comments on horror, suspense, and tension. Sean mentions tension and suspense. Both are important to leading up to horror. You need to space things out so the characters are not immediately in fight-flight mode. They need time to build up fear, presumptions about the situation. I think pacing is important in horror. The movie session does not start with the bad guy standing in the rain at the holiday park with all the victims already dead. The movie starts with the crew going to the holiday park, and then someone goes missing. Then the weather turns bad, or there's an internal internet outage where the people start getting sick. More bad things happen, this time closer to the PCs, so there's more evidence. Senses. Maybe the blood just won't wash off your hands, or you feel cold even though the sun is shining. Perhaps you keep seeing movement in your periphery, but there's just regular things there when you turn your head. Using other senses help flesh out what the characters are going through. Linking the current situation to their past personal lives can help too. When they can investigate the abandoned cabin, there's a photo that looks just like your uncle. This place smells just like the cabin of your childhood summer camp. As Brett mentioned, humor can have its place, but it needs to be in context. The victims, cough characters, can't be out in the woods. Something leaps out at them. It's a startled raccoon. It's still genre wild things out in the woods, but it's not a real threat. It lets you know the heroes are getting scared. Then 10 minutes later, the next thing out in the bushes, or even standing calmly in front of them, is a killing machine. The senses, that's a really good piece, Blake. I'm glad you called that out. Because when we describe stuff, it's very easy for us to say, visualize this, or your character sees, right? And sometimes we think of hears because the roaring or whatever the monster is, or the creature, or some sounds. But we can forget sometimes that terror is there's no noise. It's definitely quiet in the woods. Even at night, the crickets stop, or whatever's going on. And smell can be huge. And the physical sensation of, air moving by and so on and so forth. So all of those pieces and parts, and taste can be crazy. You smell something, you kind of take it in quick inhalation, and you taste something in the air. Tastes like peppermint. Why does it taste like peppermint? And then the monster shows up and eats your friend. Suddenly peppermint is fucking terrifying, right? So anyway, I think that's really important. And those descriptors, trying to grab as much of that as you can, is really, really cool. I'm glad Blake brought that up. Cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Blake.
Over to you, sir.
John H. writes in, "Hey, gents. Thanks for responding to my last long and bold note in your recent show. I'll try to keep this one shorter, but wanted to follow up on a couple of things you guys said. 1, regarding Genesis and the idea that it's really built for Star Wars. You're right, in a way. Every Genesis game can work in any setting, but the ways that stories are told are very Star Warsy. High action, dramatic changes in fortune, a little swashbuckly, cutting through clusters of mooks to get to the big bad dude, etc. You can run it with fantasy pirates or unsailed seas or cybered up criminals in a megalopolis of the future, but the feeling of those stories will always be sort of similar to what you get in Star Wars. While I know some people would disagree strongly, I don't think it'd work very well for Cthulhu investigators or 4-color superheroes, but it covers the middle ground pretty well. 2, definitely keep an eye on Cortex. I made some bold statements about it, but consider this. A Bay Area tech company, Fandom, has just invested several $1 million in this project, buying the rights to the system and hiring a game design crew. This is the same company that has brought us all our favorite fandom pages like Wikipedia and the app that makes 5e usable, D&D Beyond. They've already invested in 2 IPs, Masters of the Universe and The Dragon Prince, and it sounds a lot like there are negotiations for several more. The game system that's under the hood has been playtested, evolved, and refined ever since Sovereign Stone came out in the 90s across a lot of different settings, Dragonlance, Smallville, the MCU, Firefly, Leverage, and more, and has already been the subject of lots and lots of fan hacking. The game building toolkit, the only thing Fandom has published so far, is a good one, making it easier for GMs to build custom games quickly based on 20 years of hacking and playing. But they're also lining up a lot of other things, to include tools for GMs to quickly build custom games online, the way players can quickly build D&D characters in their D&D Beyond app. Imagine being able to select a few mods, type up a setting blurb, and print out a full rules booklet for your players based on your selections in the online gaming building tool. A marketplace for game designers to sell those games, as Wizards does with DM's Guild, and an internal process for Fandom to very quickly churn out quality thematic games based on licensed IPs. Easy for amateurs to build means easy for pros to build too. I've given it a fair amount of thought, and this looks like an 8-figure investment that might just pay off. It has the potential to bring in lots of new players with their licensed IPs and to lower the bar on GMing and game hacking with their online tools. Look out also for synergy with some of Fandom's other products, like personalized wikis for your homebrewed settings. Plus, the system is cool and flexible and gives me an excuse for messing with piles of poker chips and rolling handfuls of polyhedral dice at the table, which is always a good time. Good day and good gaming, John H.
Cool, man. That's some good info. And I like the fact that John calls out with the Genesis stuff, like how he feels it covers a middle ground or a certain type of tone. You and I have talked about this with, Savage Worlds is savage, fast, fun. They have a tag, right, for that. And your game will have a Savage Worlds-y feel. If you play Avalon using Savage Worlds, it'll have a Savage Worlds-y feel to it. It's going to have that component. And I think from other people I've talked to who've used Genesis, I think John seems to be on the money there, where it's got that Star Wars-y feel. That's what I've heard. I don't know for sure, but I've heard that before, so that feels right to me when he says that.
Bo said it was created for Warhammer. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I believe Warhammer 3rd used it. I think it was 3rd. They had a big box set with all sorts of funky dice and shit, so yeah. Never got into that one, but I believe that is correct. And if Motus knows that, so I'm not going to argue with Mo. He knows as much about Warhammer or more than I do, so fair enough. The Cortex thing is interesting. I started poking around on a little bit last time, John, when you mentioned it to us. So, very interesting. Very interesting. All right. Let's see here. You want to get into the next ones?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So on saying no, Ray Otis chimed in on that one. He said, in my own experience running old school games, there's definitely a time to say a flat no. It's when the player says a character takes an action that simply isn't possible, like trying to play a piano to entertain some NPCs when the character has never played piano before. Unless, say, the player suggests that the PC making a fool of himself on the piano would be entertaining. Peterson talks about the core definition of a role-playing game as a game in which you can try anything. I agree with that in the sense that a player has no limits of what they can try with a character other than the constraint of what makes sense in the fiction itself. A thief in old-school D&D has a good chance to climb sheer surfaces, even when at level 1. When presented with a glass wall, should you let the thief try to climb it? I would say no, unless the thief had suction cups attached to his hands. Fair, Ray. I like it. Over to you, sir.
Blake tells us when he says no, for me, it's about genre. For some fantasy includes steampunk, automatons, and vehicles. For others, it does not. So I've had to say no to steampunk or firearms requests and suggestions when I've been running a Dark Ages / Bronze Age Conan sword and sorcery style game. If any games you want to keep the conversations going, so you say, no, that's not right for this system or setting. But you can do X or Y instead. Give them some parameters. Not everyone is as familiar with the genre or subgenre as you may be.
Not a good point, Blake. Wayne commented on saying no as well. If a player is using quote-unquote character motivation for being a dick at the table, absolutely. This isn't common, but saying no is a good skill GMs develop in order to redirect or, if necessary, stop a course of action or inaction that will result in a bad time, hurt feelings, etc. In one case, I had to say no to a character. I had a player make up a PC that had no motivation to adventure and thwarted the game for a week. I had to go to the player and give his PC a hard no. I learned a great lesson. Now I simply ask the player to come up with that motivation as a hard requirement to play. I've had to give a hard note at a con game when a character began a line of inquiry with an NPC that was obviously going to lead towards the other player's line, as in Lines and Veils. I shut it down and did not explain at the table. Again, could not figure out how to do so without hitting that line. I've also had to effectively say no when engaged in historical, cultural RPGs, only to reinforce the themes and mores of the game. For example, running Bushido back in the 80s or Legend of the Five Rings in the 90s with folks who are not yet keyed into the cultural norms of those societies. In some of those cases, it was not a hard no, but rather your character can absolutely do that. But I'm sure your character knows that by disobeying your superior in court, it will shame you publicly. Blood is likely to flow in seconds. Is that the intention of your PC? That's good stuff, man.
It's good stuff.
Shall we?
Let's get into it.
All right, man.
Topic of the evening.
Yeah, let's talk about saying no. So, Matt Colville, somebody I follow, who I've mentioned on the show multiple times, had a video a while back on saying no. It's been a while since he had up. I can't remember when it exactly went up. But I was noodling on that idea for a while, and I threw it up there in the show notes for Sean and I. And I think there's definitely a time and place to say no. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit with Sean here. I know some of the things when we talked about it above with lines and veils, and we've talked about it with X cards and safety tools, where sometimes that is the hard no that players and game masters alike can utilize. But there is a pervasive, maybe sound overly dramatic, but a pretty well known, or at least often discussed, this always say yes, or say yes and, or yes but, or whatever it is. But I think sometimes no is the right answer. We had some good examples above, and I wanted to talk to Sean about, does he is such a nice, easy-go-lucky guy, just never says no, I'm sure. But have you ever been tempted to, type of thing? So I figured I'd pump Sean a little bit, see if he's ever said it.
I like to premise my no's with a big fuck ahead of them.
Fuck no. And I end it with you ass. Period. End.
I at one point in time really wanted to do the yes and maybe the no but to some degree, but I really wanted to be able to say, you know what? It's the players' game as well, and if they want to play a specific thing in the game, well then, I don't want to be the bad game master, Brett. I don't want to be daddy game master.
I don't want to be the one that says no all the time. I don't want to be the one that denies them their fun, right? Yeah.
As a parent, Brett, can you understand? Can you relate
No,
to this?
I'm a dad. My job is to wreck all fun and destroy all joy in life.
Oh, that's true. You are the dad that says
I am
no.
the
What
dad.
am I talking about?
Yeah, exactly. That's different. I'm the one that told my kids there's no Santa Claus. Come on.
Oh, man. Newfound
Remember
respect.
Yeah.
Newfound respect for you, Brett.
I find, so for me, the easiest one is the boundaries of PC gen and options, right? The stuff we talk about in our session 0, or that we wish we talked about in session 0, right? Or those things we say, hey, look, it's going to be a swashbuckling game. We're going to use this rule set. We're going to do blah, 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 blah. We're going to use these 4 core rule books. Ready, go. And someone shows up with core book 5 and wants to play from a different planet. And you're like, this isn't even that kind of game, but why can't I be a superhero? No. That's not the genre. That's not the world. That's not the setting. That's not the boundaries, the bumpers we put in place that everyone else is agreeing to. Sometimes for me, it's not just the continuity of the world and the setting and so forth, but it's almost I have found that if I allow too much of that, it actually will stomp on other players' fun. And here's my reasoning for that, Sean. We're playing the game. Everyone's all down for this. I got Jeff and the crew. We're all good. And here comes Sean. And Sean's like, hey, yeah, but I want to do this thing. Everyone else has taken a lot of time, care, and preparation to really get into the game and get ready to go. And then Sean wants to play a knucklehead, right? Or Superman or whatever fucked up connect. And if I allow that, then what I've seen from my experience anyway, then there's a ripple effect. Oh, that's allowed now? Oh, let me do this then. Now my character is going to change. Now this is going to change. And pretty soon it's gone. The boundaries, the bumpers, all the stuff we agreed to is shot, right? So all those other players and myself, the work I put into the setting or whatever is just gone, We'll talk about Simba Room next episode, but if I say, hey, yeah, we're going to play Simba Room, this is how it works, and setting and so forth, and someone goes, well, yeah, but I want to be like a dragon. I want to be like a dragonborn, okay? No. Yeah, but you could make one, and you could... No. It's not. That's not it. No, it doesn't fit the setting. No, everyone else agreed. No, right? So I think those things are very easy no's.
Yeah, I would
me,
say
anyway.
that's the low-lying fruit. And Mo brings up a good point. You do it in session 0, so that way down the road you don't have to do it within the game.
Correct.
Right.
And I think one of the pieces that once you start with that, what you get to do then is, I believe, saying no later on can be, if you do it right, at least what I would consider right, You're like, no, you can't, because remember, and you hearken back to that agreement. You pull back from your session 0 and say, hey, y'all, remember, no superheroes. Remember,
pull out the
no
contract,
flight.
man. Pull it out.
Yeah. I've been a contractor. I know what an SOW is. Yeah. Statement of work is a sword and a shield. That's how that works. That's why I don't talk to salespeople, Sean. Anyway, point is, you can say that, harken back to say, well, no, that actually won't work because we agreed. Remember, the setting doesn't have teleportation, so your character can't have that spell. Oh, yeah, that's right. The setting doesn't have it. Okay, cool. I got it. Yeah, all right. I can't have it. No without a reason is what I think ticks people off, because that's seen as adversarial or just being a douchebag.
Those you gotta justify the no.
Oh my God.
Players. They just want every explanation in the world.
Have you ever had the so here's a fun one. Have you ever had it where, I mean, there's the unfair, like, no, that's unfair. You can't pick a random magic item from the DMG and give it to your character. I'm sorry. No, that's unfair. No one else gets that. Everything.
Nobody said life was fair.
Have you ever told somebody your character wouldn't do that and stop them by saying, no, your character wouldn't do that? That's stupid.
No, but I have a feeling that's on the horizon. I think it's on the horizon.
I thought the Forbidden Landscape guys were good.
Hey, man. Right now I'm gaming with...
You're going after Harrigan? You told me you're going after Harrigan. No, I'm kidding.
I have 4, 8, 9, possibly 9, and 5. I have almost 14 players I could be talking about right now. 14 or 15.
It's probably Harrigan. I know it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So point is, though, have you ever done it, though? Honestly?
I think I'm sure I've done it at some point in time. I haven't done it that I know of recently. Like, come on, would your player character really do that? I've done it in the past, probably, when it's been something kind of really off the wall. Like Jeff might have wanted to kill his guy because he was infected and couldn't get hit points, or his con kept dropping because of the death curse. I'm like, come on, you're not going to kill your character. Wouldn't kill himself for that.
That seems excessive. Yeah.
So
as Ray talked about in the examples above, right? Like, hey, it's a glass wall. There's literally, it's not like your regular sheer surface. It's a special sheer surface in your old school game. No, you can't unless you have special tools. Okay, got it. Explanation. The other one I really like is, Wayne brings this up, and this is I used to say your character wouldn't do that, to shut down what I considered stupid moves, or that's just dumb, or, oh my God, really? Ages back.
So instead of saying that's just dumb, now you have code words to say that's just dumb?
No, now what you do is you do what Wayne brings up and says, so your character can do that. But I'm sure he realizes, or she realizes, or they realize that what's going to happen when they do that is that the space pirate lord will shoot you in the fucking face. Your character would know this. They have no choice. They have to shoot you in the face based on this social situation. You will be shot in the face. Is that what you want to do? Oh, wow. So yeah, I'm saying no by explaining to them, break that fourth wall, bust the consequence. Like, look, man, you want to do that? Fine, you're gonna die. Now, some people I know don't give a fuck. Like, oh, okay, you do that, your character's shot in the face, they die. Oh, I wouldn't have done it if I'd known that would have happened. My character would. This stops the argument for me by a little bit of a description. Like, hey, is that really what you want to do? Okay. That's kind of a soft no.
I see.
I have had players as the paladin in the group, the lawful good, holy, follower of Voltus or whatever. I'm the blah, 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 blah. Fine, I'll torture the goblin. Your character will not torture a goblin. Well, but it's evil. No, you are lawful good. No, you're not torturing a goblin.
Would you?
My character, his logic, it's an evil character and ends justify being. No.
Yes, Sean. Would you let them do it, but they would would have to take on the repercussions. Like, you could do that, and after that, you're going to be insane.
So that's what comes afterwards. It's like, okay,
Right.
fine. Is that how your logic it? I'm telling you how your God sees it.
Right.
If you want to get cross with your God, go for it. Which is no different than what Wayne just mentioned with the Legends of the Five Rings or Bushido. Like, hey, you do this.
Right.
I'm just telling you right now, you're going to get cross with your deity.
Right. The consequences.
Yeah, guess what? Now your goddess, yeah, she's had it with you. You're no longer a paladin. You're a fighter. Well, what? But yeah, sorry, pal. You know.
Getting stripped of paladinhood, man, that was the real deal. Like, whoa. How am I going to get it back?
That was a sumbitch.
You're going to have to like level up 5 times and go on a serious quest.
Yes. The
And
other
then you
one
have to
that
convince the rest of the party to go with you on your stupid quest to get your paladinhood back. That was probably the bigger battle.
it absolutely was, because the other 4 players are like, "You're a dick." No,
dude, I want to go through Pharaoh. I don't want to go march off to find some goofy like religious symbol to have you redeem yourself.
Yeah, go up. We'll have this crushed under the heel of the next humble ant we see. Wink, wink. Getting you your paladinhood back. Sure thing, pal. So I think whenever I've had to say no, as far as your character wouldn't do that, or that's not something along those lines, I couch it much the way Wayne does, which I think is good. Or how Ray is talking above, right? With the concepts of let me explain the situation and why it's no. Okay. I think that's important because honestly, as jokes aside, as a parent, when I tell my kids no, they will often look at me like, well, why not? Depending on what it is. Sometimes I'm like, do not do that. It's on fire. Right there. I explained it to you. Oh, it's on fire. Fucking don't touch that, right? Hot, type of thing. Sometimes you're like, don't do that. You're going to get hurt. No, I don't think I will. Don't do it. All right, fine. Whack, whack. Told you. Sometimes, depending if it's going to kill them, right?
Yeah, there's a certain
there's
sense
an
of
ethic,
priority.
moral, and there's a priority. Like, he's going to skin his knees if he keeps doing that. Crack. Yep, did that. Won't do that again. There's some of that, but there's also, I explained to them, I would not do that, and here's why. When you're telling someone no, that makes sense. Like, hey, no speeding. Why? Well, speeding is dangerous and blah, 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 rules, social mores, blah. But I find the one that is interesting to me sometimes as well is the trying to logic your way out of a certain game impact, mechanical impacts, right?
Yeah, this is what Mr. Colville mentioned, yeah.
Yeah, so...
which I almost encountered, right?
Yeah, you almost did. So playing Call of Cthulhu, for example, is you see your former wife's corpse, horribly dismembered. You roll, you lose 2 sand. Well, I mean, I never really loved her, and we were kind of divorced. And I haven't seen her in a long time, and I'm a Cthulhu investigator. I'm a police officer. Would I really lose sanity for that? I've had that goddamn argument with people. That I've had to say, that's how the game works. Again, harken back to, session 0. Sanity loss. No, you cannot argue your way out of sanity loss. This is how it works. Well, yeah, but I wouldn't see it that way. I mean, my character, and then the answer is, okay, that's how your character thinks he's sane. Yes, she still thinks that's fine. She doesn't think she's lost the sanity. You can play that up all you want. Mark it down. And you could have had that with the fishing gear thing, right?
Oh,
well, it says you broke all your field. Well, I mean, wouldn't if you use like all of my fishing gear? I mean, you don't really when you go fishing, as I want to do, you only use part of your line, and you don't really destroy all your hooks. It's not like you took all your hooks and line, you just threw it in the water, Sean. Right. Now, I hope to whatever God.
Man, that is uncanny, dude. It was like Harrigan was at the table just now.
Yeah. I've gamed with Harrigan. There's no way he does it. No fucking way. Anyway, point is that when sometimes the game mechanics will hit, and depending if it's a negative impact or it's a positive impact for the bad guy and negative for you or whatever it is, people will get kind of pissy about it sometimes. And sometimes you have to say, no, I'm sorry. That's the ruling, right? Well, we did this much damage to the monster. How come it's not dead? It regenerates. Aw. right? If we knew it regenerated, if you knew, but you don't. Now you do, type of thing. And I think that is one that, to me, it's interesting because I get into those. This harkens a little bit to the horror component that we talked about last episode. Is that when something changes the way your character does something, right? Like when a player character tries to impact your player character, cast a spell on you, or the bad guy charms Sean's character, and Sean's character has to recklessly and relentlessly attack Brett's character. Well, it didn't technically say I have to use my longsword, so I sheath that and pull out my toothpick of mightiness and stab him with that instead. Dude, the fuck, man! You have your longsword in your hand, you're going after with the longsword.
It doesn't say what weapon I have to choose, Brett.
Exactly.
I could choose any weapon. It just says I attack him.
Exactly. I attack him backwards, and you do your reverse crab walk. What the fuck? Now, some of the obvious extreme examples.
Laugh because we care.
And we laugh because we've seen it before. And I think those are cases where the no is like, look, this is the ruling. This is the decision. And where I'm getting at with that long way around is that sometimes the decision has to be made at the table. And if you enjoy the debate, whether or not you can hold your breath for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 15 or 14 or 12 based on this plus that minus this thing, good for you. Carry that on in your group. If that's your version of fun, enjoy it. I do not wish to do that, but if that's fun for y'all, go for it. Some people want to stop the game, dig up every rule, and more power to them if that's what they want to do. Not me. One of the things I will regularly say no about in my games is when I have to make a ruling. You know what? I'm going to say, this is what happens. What about? No, we're not arguing about this anymore. This is the answer. Good? Man. Everyone nods, agrees. One person like, yeah, well, all right, move on. We're not.
Do you ever see that face, like the person that goes like, side to side, rolls their eyes side to side like this when you bring that up, Brett?
Not often. Not often.
Raise their eyebrows and eyes get kind of wide. No.
Never more than once. You side-eyed me, boy.
Damn. It's been a while since I played with Brett.
No, seriously, that's a time when it's like no more debate. It's not like, no, your character can't do that, or no, this is like no more debate. That's the no statement. It's like, we're done. We've discussed it. We're doing this. We've got to keep the game moving tonight. Come on. We wasted 15 minutes arguing about whether he can shoot somebody through a bush with an arrow. Fucking move on.
Yeah, there is a point in any game. You gotta move. You gotta keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Sean, do you have any other times when you've had to say no, or you found it to be a powerful tool, or a useful tool, I should say?
Yeah, I think the big one is usually with the tone of the game or the. Well, and I should have said that with Curse of Strahd. Actually, it wasn't too bad, but I could have just said, all right, it's an all human game. Period. End of discussion. I want to play this. No. Why? Because it's going to ruin the tone I'm shooting for, or it's the dynamic of you being a lizard guy in Barovia is just not going to work. We're not playing. It'd be like playing a Toon game and putting in, some Shakespeare guy. It just doesn't align. So I would say it's that. That would be probably the main one. Like, I want to have one thing that Pathfinder had was the Pistolier. I can't remember the damn class name. The guy who shoot guns and stuff.
Or the Oracle, or the what was the one that could the Summoner. Yeah,
Summoner was badass. It was like broken as hell, but I played it once.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn effective. A lot of them would rule it out. I think Doc would be like, no summoners.
I always said no summoners.
Yeah.
I read that one. No. But I think that's one of the key pieces is that when you need to be strongest with the no is at that session 0. And some of that, I think, Sean, goes to your opt-in approach to gaming, which I really appreciate more. Is like, look, this is the game I want to run. It's going to be like this as such with these boundaries and these bumpers. We good? Can I play Lizard Man? No. Yeah, but it would really fit. And that's not what we're going for here. This is what it is. Excuse me. I have listened to people before and went, I haven't thought about that idea. I think that could fit. And I will ask the rest of the players, do you want to deal with this? And a lot of times my players will say, yeah, I don't know, or I guess, or what happens if it doesn't fit? That's a good question. I don't even want to deal with that. We're just going to say no.
That's a good point, Brett. I don't know if we bring the other players into how all that is negotiated in session 0. It's usually a very, hey, I'm the game master. I'm going to tell you the tone. I'm going to tell you kind of what we're going to try to create together. And then the rest of the players, one player may say, well, I'm thinking about playing this class. Can I play that class? Game master, no. And this is why, or whatever. But very rarely is it, hey, what do you guys all think? Like, I already know kind of what's in my brain, but thoughts, having heard, player X, maybe that could be a way of also swinging the majority. So it's not just the game master putting the big, huge hammer down.
I think it's the best, not the best, but sometimes in game it can be very difficult for players to have a no stance.
Sure.
Like, no, I don't want to be charmed by the NPC. No, I don't want, this bad guy to attack me or what. I mean, there's multiple. We have X cards and other tools like that we've talked about in the past. But I think in that session 0, that no can be the players. The game master is another version of the player. We've talked about that too. And then this is going to be your fun too, players. So if you're sitting there and Brett's caving because Sean and Eileen have convinced him that what they should be able to do is allow Dragonborn in this setting, and the other 3 of you are like, no, it doesn't work. We need to have this discussion, because what that will do is that will lead to hard feelings. And the other thing that it can do, in my opinion, is that it can but it leaves too much sometimes on the shoulders of the game master. It's like, I'm saying no because I have a vision in my head of how this is going to work. You're arguing with me that Dragonborn fit. Eileen is saying no, they don't. Harrigan says yes, they do. All right, look, let's talk this out, right? And I think that's healthy for people to have the discussion. And they may say, you know what? It sounds like what we really want to do is not play this. We want to play this. Are you guys all saying you want to play Dragonborn? Yeah. Okay. Can you give me 5 minutes? I'll go make up something else. Right. Or, okay, if we do that, it's going to change the complete tone of the game. Are we cool with that? Yeah, we want to be. All right, cool. We got 5 Dragonborn tonight, I guess. Holy shit. Stuff like that can happen, and that organic change and whatnot can be very powerful. And I think it's one of the few times that I can think of off the top of my head that when you're building stuff, some games, I know the Dresden Files, the original version, you built the city together. In some games, Microscope, and other ones, you do stuff together. But even there, the players have power to say, well, how about, or I don't like, or can we pass this, and so forth. And I think even in any game you're doing with a session 0, the player should speak up.
Yeah.
When someone says, hey, I thought we were playing a steampunk game. How come I can't have a flintlock pistol? How come there's no swords? How come there's no buckles to swash? What's going on here? Speak up type of thing. So, anything else, Sean, on any examples you have on it? Because I got one last question for you.
No,
good boy.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. The other thing would be just that, it's more, I would say it's more on the upfront for me. Like, it's not too much in the action or as the play kind of evolves. There isn't a lot of no's necessarily, unless it's going back to the reality component. I'm going to jump over that mountain. No, you can't. Why not? I've got a jump skill of 25.
It says right here in the DMG, don't say no, just assign difficulty class. Find difficulty 2 million, you prick.
So I think but a lot of that is around tone. Like, even if you talk about, there's the reality, and then people say, oh, you want reality, but you're playing in a world with
Mhm.
dragons, fairies, gnomes, and
Yes,
dwarves.
yes, yes.
So
And laser knights and whatever else is happening.
there's
Yeah.
a simulation kind of thing that goes on, but you want it to feel. I think we haven't gotten into this, and this is a bit of a tangent, but I think there is a sense of I want it to feel real, regardless if there are dragons, gnomes, vampires, and people with laser swords. I want to believe that this place actually exists, and in order to do that,
I need consistency. There
Yes.
has to be a consistency, stream of logic, consciousness, something I can hang my disbelief on that doesn't change drastically. Right. If I reach up 6 feet high and I hang my disbelief hat, and then the next session is 10 feet and it vacillates throughout the game, this feels really weird. It just, it's inconsistent. Inconsistency will kill you.
Yeah.
Verisimilitude is important.
Yes.
I think the last thing I had is should we provide ways to get from a no to a yes? I think in some cases when I look back to the idea that that Ray had, hey, look, man, it is a glass wall slick with a slime coating, blah blah blah. The way to get to yes, you can try or climb sheer surfaces is if you have a special circumstance of some sort. If you can give me a way that you think you could try to defeat this thing in an old school game, okay, well, if I use my daggers and try to jab into whatever it is you're trying to do, right? Or suction cups or something. So there's a way to get there. I think in other things though, if I want to play, somebody who plays a concertina and has a dancing monkey, and I'm part dragonborn, part dark elf, and I'm also a jester. Can I do that in your hardcore Ravenloft game? The answer is no. And there's no real easy way to get to yes on that one.
I would have to ask why. Why?
There you go. Perfect.
Why? Find out why. That's what I did with Harold. Why are you gonna play Lizard Guy? Why? And if it's because I get a +1 bonus, I will say hell no. But if they got some strange storyline that they want to explore and it makes sense that it could be a feasibly decent, if somebody's creating something and they know, hey man, everywhere you go, they are going to ostracize you and want you out of there, and you're always going to encounter,
hatred, animosity, disgust.
Yeah.
Everyone hates you. Yeah.
Yeah. If they say that's what I'm going for because I want to rise above that, or that's the challenge. Okay. But I don't want to start running this game and have you come to me and say, I think you're being unfair, or I think you're coming down on me too hard, because that's what you're choosing as an option.
Yeah, you're the one that put the millstone around your neck. I
am telling you ahead of time, I'm going to make your character's life miserable.
Yeah, you're agreeing. Remember,
you want a part of that artistry.
One of the things you mentioned, and I think this is actually key, is the why. Why do you think you can do that, or why is that fun for you? Why do you think this fits? Sometimes it's an argument of game mechanics. Well, I don't think I would take a Sandy loss because of that. Well, no, I'm sorry. It's just how this works. There's no arguing about it. That's the way the mechanic works. My buddy Chad Knight, long time back, we were playing a Pathfinder game, and I limited to certain books. He said, "Can I just have this one thing out of this one book?" And I said, "Why?" Because the backstab gets a D8 because of blah, 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 or something. It was a very mechanical die rolling benefit. And I said, no. I said, if you really want to be kick-ass, if I were you, start as a human fighter, level 1, and then go to rogue at second level. You'll be a way badder ass. Huh. Because he explained to me what he was trying to accomplish. I'm like, this is a better path. And that's plays within the system that we all agreed to. So do that. Okay, cool. I'll try that. And maybe this is the story gamer hidden somewhere inside of Brett, but when somebody's like, I really want to do this thing. Why are you doing that? Because I get a +1 bonus. I'm doing it because, these guys get, an extra D6 on their space lightsaber roll. I don't fucking, what? Especially when it's in violation is really strong, but if it breaks the boundaries, right? We've all agreed upon this thing, but you have to have this one special thing, or you want to do something that's outside, right? You know, my dwarf acts like this, or my Jedi doesn't listen to the council, and he's a freewheeling blah, blah, blah. Why are you doing that? That's not how this works. Yeah, but I want to... No. You know, you're breaking the verisimilitude of the game. That's not how these different species operate. They think differently and so forth. And I honestly really do hate I'm looking for a mechanical advantage of some kind. Yeah, but I want to be a barbarian, and the only decent barbarians are Dragonborn because of blah, 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 blah. Mechanics, dice roll, bonus, bonus, bonus. That has no traction with me. Now, there are some folks out there who are like, yes, but that's my fun, is min-maxing, power gaming, or optimizing, whatever term you want to use. They love doing that stuff, and that's their joy, which is great in that case. I think sometimes then what I've told people who enjoy that stuff, and I put boundaries and whatever on it, I give them and say, that's your challenge now. My buddy Doug, I used to play with ages back, he'd be like, oh, you're not gonna let me use this book? No. All right, I'll think of something else. He would go home, crunch through Pathfinder, go, motherfucker, wham! He dropped this monk on me with a long spear and leaping and dodging skills that I couldn't touch. It was disgusting. He was a mage killer. But anyway, that was the challenge then for that person who enjoyed that was, well, make a kick-ass thing with these Lego blocks instead of all of them type of deal. So I think the why, Sean, to get back to what you're saying, is critical. You know, when someone says, I want to do this, why? And listen to them and don't mock them. Oh, you just want it because it's got a fucking +1 advantage? That's it's a little negative, right? And like, well, I get a really good bonus for this, blah, blah, blah. Well, this other thing, this other background, this other feature, this other feat, or whatever also gives you a bonus. It's very similar, and that would fit. Oh, cool, I'll do that instead. Well, especially in that session 0 component when you, you're saying no, is offering counters, right? Sometimes the no is, how about this instead? Which is basically no. I'm just not using the 2-letter word. I'm saying no, but it's countering you with something a little more palatable for the setting or the system or whatever it is we're doing. But I think there is a point when you do need to kind of dig your heels in a little bit, right? When you're playing that horror game and you're trying to get for tension, and you've got that one person who insists on quoting Monty Python, whether or not it fits. Do people quote Monty Python anymore? Is that just an old man thing?
I think
probably
it
an old man
creeps
thing.
Its way into everything RPG.
Yeah, it does, but it just doesn't work all the time, right? Mm-hmm. And somebody who insists on doing something, it's okay to say no, you can't do that, or stop that, right? I think that's legit. Anything else, Sean?
No,
good. Set you up again. That's good.
Let us know if you've run into issues where you've had to say no.
Yeah, and if you've got a decent way you do it, or yes, if anything you want to expound on that we had, if you've had a no go terribly wrong, that'd be interesting to hear about as well. If nothing else, it's always good to learn from our mistakes. So
bonus points for table flips.
Bonus points for table flips, or throwing books in the snow. Either way, it's all good.
Indeed.
Let's move on to die roll.
Oh, die roll. 2d4 miscellaneous points of gaming and geekery want to bring to you.
So the first one up I have is to Matt Goville's YouTube channel on his saying no, which is a fun video for me anyway. I thought it was kind of cool. It gave me inspiration to talk about this. So there we go there. Sean, what else have we got?
I happened to see the Bundle of Holdings store that's up. Starter packs, low cost, available anytime. Thanks to Akadokin for pointing that out. I saw it. I saw him put it out there, but I didn't realize. I don't think I considered putting it in a die roll. So thanks, Michael, for doing that.
There's some pretty cool stuff out there when we talk about bundles. We're talking about Traveler, Champions, Night's Black Agents, Trail of Cthulhu, Shadow of the Demon Lord, Old School Essentials. Not bad.
Yeah. You want some PDF stuff for decent costs. That's one place to check it out. Next one, Mr. Swick says The World of Darkness is coming to TV and film. Oh boy. Probably right for the CW, just saying.
Oh, I don't know.
Come on, Brett. I thought you'd be more.
Vampire tried to come to TV once. That was terrible. It was so bad. I don't know, man.
Speaking of terrible and bad, I heard the D&D movie. Did that start shooting? Or they have the scheduled? Something
I don't know.
crazy like it's happening. And I'm like, oh, God.
What I think is funny is I saw somebody like, a D&D like film, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, does no one remember that there are 3 D&D official Dungeons and Dragons movies?
I haven't seen any of them.
I've seen all 3 of them.
Not a single one.
They're all bad.
I've heard.
Yeah, there's not good, you know. But anyway.
The next one, Why We Game. Some folks may be aware of this, but Brett and I were interviewed by Micah Brodeur from Why We Game. So if you want, it's about us. So if you don't,
have enough of our shenanigans for this hour, go get another hour.
Yeah.
There you go.
Different angle.
Slightly.
And then lastly, but not leastly, D8 Monthly Issue 0 zine by Yum DM. I saw this on Twitter, and they were like, I think Nola Burt probably put in a word for us and said, hey, check out these guys. And then I said, hey, what's your zine about? And so I don't know if they got back to me, but I looked it up anyway. It's free. Grab a copy.
Interesting.
Issue 0, getting at the ground floor. So yeah, I figured I'll give them a little props.
Yeah, why not, man?
Yeah. So that wraps up. Did you have anything else, Brett? I should probably.
No, man, that's all I got. I think that covers it.
All right.
Pretty good stuff.
What are we talking about next week, Brett?
Next week, I want to talk about Simba Room. I've read the core rule books, went through Monster Guide, a little bit through the Advanced Player's Guide, and if nothing else, we'll talk about some of the core mechanics, the setting stuff. And I mentioned it before on the show a while back about why I liked it, and then I complained vigorously for some folks to listen to around poor Free League and their inability to ship anything. The logistics suck, but the game seems really wicked cool to me. So I'm very pleased that I stuck it out, figured out a way to still enjoy the product when I finally got it in my hands. So I'm still looking forward to getting it to the table. So I'm pretty happy about it. So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about.
All right. Well, I can't wait to hear more about Simba Room, because I know it doesn't use the Year Zero engine, and I know it's got lots of interesting lore.
Yeah, think
world.
D20 roll low, and the lore is really baked in quite well, I think. So it'll be fun.
Excellent. Well, alrighty then. That wraps up this episode of Gaming NBS. Thanks for everybody that showed up for the live taping here on twitch.tv/gaming_and_BS every Monday night, 8 p.m. Central Time here. And then I stream Saturday mornings. If you want to see one guy blather a bit solo, tune in to this channel for that. Also, if you see this on YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, you can catch this audio version in your podcatcher of choice. Thank you so much. Otherwise, for Gaming NBS, I'm Sean.
And I'm Brett. Good night and good game and all.
This episode of Gaming NBS produced with help from the following BSers: Chuck, Bob Fletcher, Roger French, Kevin Keneally, Tindrils, Stefan Dragonspawn, Mike Coleman, Miniature Master, Wayne Peacock, Chris Shorb, Michael O'Holland, Orcus Dorcas, Todd Sharp, Craig Shipman, Quigley Malcolm, Cole Cago, AWOL Trooper, Isaiah Aries Christian, Larry Hollis, The Duke in Purple, Jay Plata, Dollar Adventure Frameworks, Phil McClory, Aaron Coleman, Eric Frankhouse Presents, Ed Nyes, Daniel Garrett, Adam Grosjean, George Sedgwick, Ghost GM, Jim Ingram, Rory Weston, Mike Hess Jr., Eric Tavola, Henry Newcomb, Hoos Carl, Melissa Bashinsky, Harrigan, Brian Rumble, Eric Avia, David F. Baylog, Christopher Lang, Michael Dinos, Jeff Goad, Corey Gonzalez, Mark Richmond, Niall Diamond, John Kayward, Perry Besor, Eric Jeppesen, Angus, Brian Kurtz, Robert Nemeth, Eric Salzwedel, Laramie Wall, Andy Hall, Howard Bishop, Craig, Ray Otis, Old Schoozer Role-Playing, Ron Bishop, Larry Hout, Jared Rasher, Rich Wishon, Chad Glayman, Jim Fitzpatrick, C.W. Mellencamp, Roger Braslett, Dan LaValle, Sky, Pure Mongrel, Jeff Seifert, Jason Hobbs, Craig Huber, Andy Olson, Corey Welch, Mark Tasaka, Chris Steele, Joshua Wallace, Brandon Barnes, Eileen Barnes, Old School DM, Mirko Froelich, Aaron Ralia, Tony Sugarloaf Baker, Curtis Takahashi, and Joe Swick. Hey, you interested in playing games with other individuals? Maybe trying a new game? Head over to gamingnbs.com/games. It'll take you to a forum post and it'll give you more information there. Then you can sign up to run a game or participate in one. Check it out. Seriously, no, really. I'll wait. Come on, there's a link at the bottom in the show notes. gamingandbs.com/games. Yep, that's it. Yeah, what do you think? Cool, huh? All right. Well, hope to maybe play with you. All right. Otherwise, keep on gaming.
This has been a Litterbox Studio production.